Hello, everyone. My name is Grant Moxley, and I'm just going to go over a quick case summary of the Rana Plaza case. And it happened at around 9 o'clock in the morning on April 24th, 2013. And it was an eight-story building, and the factories were actually the third through the eighth level. So that doesn't help anything. And of course, it just collapsed catastrophically and all the way down to the ground. And there were over 3,000 workers in the building at the time, and there were 1,100 casualties, most of which were young women, and there were also 2,500 people seriously injured. And at that time, it was the worst industrial disaster in that industry ever, and I'm pretty sure it still is. And even the day before the collapse, workers were pointing out new cracks that were forming in the walls, and they notified their managers, and it actually got inspected the day before it collapsed, and the inspector deemed the building to not be safe, but the owner basically went above him and said that the cracks were only in the plaster, and he told his workers that if they did not come to work, then that they would actually take a pay cut. So, not the greatest leadership, um, definitely in this case. And going to the next slide. Um, and there were actually several brands that you may have heard of that got garments made there from those five factories in that building. Some of which includes Walmart, H&M, The Gap, and there's also some really popular European brands there as well. And um, the biggest problem was that was a booming industry in Bangladesh at the time, and they were actually converting structures that were not meant for that industry into giant garment factories with a lot of machinery and things like that, with turbines and generators. And this was not at all, those they were not up to code for that type of thing. And going on down from this case, it was evident that pretty much everyone involved besides the workers is in the wrong in this case. The government, um, just the government authorities, everyone. I mean, the managers, the bosses, the owners, they were just completely negligent to the fact that um, of the really poor working conditions, the state of the building itself, the very low wages that these employees are already working for, and then basically threatening them to work in an unsafe location where they get a pay cut and they're already not making anything. So the disaster did lead to a couple things. One of which is the Accord on Fire and Building Safety, and that did somewhat improve the inspecting processes and just some of the overall safety concerns of the rest of the factories in Bangladesh. But it did lead to some positive things, but unfortunately, it was a very unnecessary accident that should have been prevented.